guys, what's going on? This is Travis P11 and we are back in the gunsmithing kitchen, I guess you could say, to cook up something new for you. Alright, bad joke. So anyway, today what we're going to do is we're going to do a basic field strip and cleaning of the Civilian Force Arms Xena 15 Gen 1. I'm not really going to get into the specifics of this firearm because I've done previous videos on it talking about the features of this particular gun. You can go to Civilian Force Arms website and look up the newer generation AR-15s that they sell, the newer generation Xenas, to get all the details. What I can tell you is that the gun is made from mil-spec parts all the way through, and you're going to be getting yourself a quality firearm if you pick it up. A little bit about the gun. It does have an MFT stock and MFT grip. Did originally come with just a standard carbine handguard, your barrel style, and I did put an MOE handguard on that a couple years ago. We're running a Vortex Strike-Fire 2 optic, and it does have an MFT rear flip-up iron sight, which I'm going to take off. Because if you remember on the Bear Creek Arsenal Magpul conversion video, we picked up, I took this off the rail from that particular AR, and that's going to go onto this AR. So I think what we'll do is talk about some of the basic supplies you're going to need for this cleaning. I kind of wanted to do this as a how-to video. I know there's a million videos out there on YouTube on how to clean an AR-15. And in fact, I watched quite a few before I did it the first time because I honestly didn't feel like I knew what I was doing because, I have no prior military experience. But some basics that you might want just to kind of get started are going to be a can of CLP as well as a can of Rem oil. Okay, you can also get a can of Hoppe's or I think it's Hoppe's, yeah, Hoppe's degreaser, Hoppe's elite gun cleaner, and so on if you want to take the oil off your gun and so on. A couple center punches, just a cleaning rod attachment that you can put your patches on, a barrel brush, a 22 caliber barrel brush or a 223 caliber barrel brush, barrel light, and I got this little, my little pistol ramrod or pistol cleaning rod. This thing works great for getting up into the magazine well and getting into the lower and so on. Screwdriver to change out that rear iron sight. We're going to just kill two birds with one stone and just take care of that. And I've got some specialty brushes and mops here. You definitely need these in your collection. These are great after you fire. These work wonders for cleaning out the front of your receiver, where your feed ramps are and so on, where essentially the rounds load into the barrel. As well as just a barrel mop, and these things work really good for cleaning. But I won't be using those today because this firearm was actually, oh yeah, and also you need a cup of Black Rifle Coffee Company JB Just Black. You really can't go wrong with that. It's always good to have a nice stout cup of coffee, so check those guys out too, all right? As you know, you've been watching all those videos, and I always mention SS Pawn as they are a sponsor of the channel. They do provide me with firearms to use, and I did actually go through SS Pawn to purchase this particular rifle. Stan, the owner of SS Pawn in Lexington, Nebraska, or I had the gun delivered to his store, and I paid the FFL fee and took delivery and got it. Got a really good deal on it. I think I paid around $625 or $650. The Xenas have gone up in price a little bit, but you do get more features on them. You do get a nice quad rail, and they've got the standard height front gas block on them now without the fixed front sight post on them. Not a lot of differences between the Gen 1 and the Gen 4.1s or the Gen 4s that they sell right now. I think the materials are all basically the same. I don't know who supplies some parts to Civilian Force Arms. Most of these AR companies either make the parts themselves or they have a main supplier, so you don't see a lot of differences between them. But again, I wanted to go with Civilian Force Arms because it is a veteran-owned company, and I did want to buy, obviously, American for my AR, as I do for most of my firearms. I try to go American, and yeah, so anyway, let's go ahead and get started with just the basics of an AR cleaning, okay? And this might even give you a little bit of insight into what the inside of the Xena looks like, what the inside of the Civilian Force Arms ARs look like, so you can see what the machining and the tooling looks like and so on. I did go ahead and take off the, oh my God, drawing a blank, sling, okay? We went ahead and took that off, so we're good to go. So what we're gonna do is just go ahead and push these little pins in on the back. Oh, you know what? Let's check and make sure we're all clear. This is my Save Queen, so she usually is not stored with a round in the chamber. Okay, so we're good there. Okay, good to go. Push the dust cover back up there. Yeah, this one does have a little bit of a notch there and a little tight dust cover. I do have to kind of push it in a little bit to get it to go, but otherwise we're fine. Okay, so go ahead and push your rear pin and your top pin, and we'll go ahead and separate the two. Take your upper and just set it out of the way. Okay, alrighty. Now we'll go ahead and move in a little bit closer. Okay guys, so what you're looking at here is the lower receiver. Okay, this is the top of the lower receiver. You've got your hammer right here. One thing to remember about these is that you definitely, and maybe it's just an old wives' tale or something, but I've always been told, make sure that you don't pull the trigger when the hammer's down without the upper on it, especially without the bolt carrier group installed, because it can cause the hammer to possibly over to travel and slam into the back of your magazine well, which can cause some issues, so you don't want to be really careful about that. So a little bit of Rem oil on here, okay? And we can just go ahead and start to wipe things off. Like I said, this gun should be fairly clean. I went through it and gave it a very thorough cleaning after the last range trip that we had. Kind of go through it. I always like to make sure that these, your disassembly pins have a little bit of oil on them too, so that they're nice and clean, so they just go right back in. Really not much of anything is coming off on this gun, okay? We are gonna actually go ahead and pull out the buffer tube too, so that I can show you what that's like. What you can do is put your finger on top of the hammer and obviously gotta put the gun on fire. There we go. And you can just pull the trigger and just gently let the hammer go and you're okay there. And I like to spray a little bit of Rem oil in there. And again, the nice thing about Rem oil, and I say this in every single video, you're probably tired of me saying this, but it does leave a nice sheen on the firearm so that they're protected, but they're not greasy, they're not oily, you don't have to worry about any kind of like excessive moisture and all that fun stuff. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and push the hammer down so it locks. You got that all taken care of. Now on the back of here, there's a little pin that keeps your buffer in place, your buffer weight and your buffer spring. And again, if I refer to any of these parts incorrectly, forgive me guys, I'm not a gunsmith. Just push down on that pin and then just let go. And your buffer is going to come out. There we go. Okay, just go ahead and give that a pull and it'll come right out. Okay guys, and just taking a look at that buffer spring, the kind you can maybe identify to see who makes this particular buffer. I'm not sure if it's you know, it's a nice heavy duty spring. Compared to my DPMS Oracle, this one definitely had a spring that was much more beefy, definitely much more heavy duty feeling, and I feel a lot less recoil on this one. So what I'm gonna do is just spray this down with some Rem oil, just go ahead and wipe it off with a patch and just set it off to the side. Okay, what we're going to do is just go ahead and take a look at this lower receiver in case you've never seen the inside of a lower receiver from a civilian force arms rifle. It's pretty much just kind of standard. No real surprises in there. Very nice build quality. I mean, there's no, you know, machining marks. Everything fits nice and you've got some very tight tolerances. There's no creep with this gun when you put it together. You know, it doesn't wobble or, I mean, it is definitely a very solid, sturdy built firearm. Okay, then what I'm going to do is go and take my little pistol cleaning rod here, spray the patch down with some Rem oil, and go ahead and just wipe out the inside of the magazine well, get that cleaned out in case there's, if anything, this gun's got a little bit of dust on it because it's been in the safe since basically last summer. I haven't taken it out and fired it since then, but with me putting the new rear iron sight on, I'm going to get that sighted in, and then I'll probably end up having to re-sight in the Strike Fire 2, but I'll tell you, with that Strike Fire 2 on the top of this thing, it's you hear the expression a lot in shooting, it's boringly accurate. Like, you don't really run into a lot of issues. It just lays one shot over the next with no problems. Let's go ahead and put that rear buffer spring, or just your buffer spring and your buffer weight back in. All you have to do is push it in, and you've got some little notches here. You'll just go past the notch and then twist the weight a little bit and it'll lock back into that pin. Generally, there's no problems. It just pops right in. Just make sure that you don't have the little cutout on the bottom of the weight, because if you do have that little cutout there, it's just going to flop back out at you. So, piece of cake to lock it back in. No problems there, guys. Awesome. Okay, so we'll go ahead and just set the lower off to the side. No big deal there. What we'll go ahead and do now is remove the bolt carrier group, and there's a lot of different ways you can do it. You can actually do it upside down. It's not a problem. I am running a BCA charging handle in this, which is not one that it comes with. We're going to go and give this top part, or the bottom of the upper receiver, a little bit of a wipe down. And then we'll pull out the bolt carrier group, we'll take a look at that, and then we'll clean out the inside of the upper receiver and continue from there. Okay, so to go ahead and remove the bolt carrier group, and now you can do this when the gun is assembled. You can tilt it forward with just your front pin, and you can pull your bolt carrier group right out. Just go ahead and grab your charging handle and pull on it. Dust cover is going to flip open, no surprises. And you can literally just pull the bolt carrier group right out and your charging handle. So kind of let you guys take a look at the bolt carrier group on a civilian force arms rifle. Now I've only got, I'm not kidding guys, I might have 200 rounds through this at the most. I think I put 100 through it when I first bought it. Make sure she didn't have any issues. It shows like nowhere. I mean, it's got a nice what do you call it, a carpenter style bolt, M16 full auto style bolt. You got nice staking on the gas key up on the top there. Only real issue I have with this is that this, what do we call that part? I always forget. The firing retaining pin right here, this guy can be a pain to put back in sometimes because the pin likes to split open when I push it through. And you'll see that when we do reassembly. So, all right, so what we're gonna do now is we'll go ahead and take the bolt carrier group apart and just give it a little bit of a wipe off, and I can show you what you can do to clean it. And then after that, we'll move into the upper receiver. And one thing I failed to mention about this gun, obviously this is not a Bravo Company charging handle. This is the original charging handle that came with the gun. I had a Bravo Company handle on it, but I put that on the Bear Creek Arsenal AR-15 because that's the gun that I use more often. And like I said, this is kind of my safe clean. I just take this one out once in a while to shoot it. So the first thing you want to do, and again, don't be intimidated by this. The thing about this is you can only do it one way to put it back together. So if you've never taken apart a bolt carrier group, it's really not that hard. What you want to do is just go ahead and take out this little fire retaining pin right here. This guy's just going to pop right out. You want to put it in a safe place so you don't lose it. Again, we're going to wipe everything down with CLP because we want a nice coating of oil on the moving parts and so on. Okay, and then after that, what you can do is your firing pin will just pop right out. Okay, you want to give that a good wipe down when you get done. Okay, then after that, you want to pull out your cam. What do we call this? Your bolt cam pin. Okay, and this only comes out one way too. There we go. Just go ahead and pull that guy out, and it only goes back one way also. You can also get a good look at that. And if you start to see some wear and there are like some grooves cut into the sides of the cam and the finish is really starting to get worn off and it's real wobbly when you put it back in, you might want to consider investing in a new bolt carrier group. But you know, that's the kind of thing that we're talking thousands and thousands of rounds, hopefully, before you have that problem. Okay, then we'll go ahead and just take out the bolt itself. Okay, and you got your carrier assembly on the rear. Okay, these guys use a really high quality bolt carrier group. I mean, I don't exactly know what the finish is on. Would you say anodized maybe? Some of you guys that are AR experts can probably tell me. Again, no problems there. So you can take the extractor out if you want to, but we really don't have to worry about that for just a simple cleaning. We're just going to go ahead and wipe this down with a little bit of CLP on a patch. And you know, if anything, I probably over lubricate my guns a little bit, but I've put hundreds of rounds through them in range settings, and I've never had any real issues with any kind of fouling or the gun ceasing to function. If anything, we probably want to hit the front of your bolt group here, where your extractor is and your firing pin comes through. Probably want to hit that with a dry patch just so that it doesn't build up a lot of excessive carbon and so on. Okay, you can also take your little handle if you have to, if you want to, and you can kind of put it through there and clean it out. Make sure there's no carbon in there. But again, this one, like I said, this one's clean. You'll know when you shoot it, you're going to go through a lot of patches cleaning these babies. So, because they tend to, because of the direct impingement system, they tend to get a lot of buildup on them and so on. So, all right, that takes care of that. We're just going to wipe off the front of the bolt. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and set that guy off to the side. I don't like to put him back down on the towel because that's going to absorb all that oil. And also, I'm going to put some CLP now, okay, on the same patch that I was using to clean out the mag well. Get that kind of nice and coated, right? You can also do this with like say a big patch or whatever. All right, we're just gonna go ahead and take that and just run that through here and just give it a nice cleaning and get in there. And again, I'll get out like Q-tips and all kinds of other crazy stuff, and you can clean these things for hours and you're still going to get powder residue that's going to come off of them even after you get done. It's just part of the design. It's really not that big of a deal. Just as long as you give it a nice cleaning, you're going to be okay. And definitely get up in the top there where your cam goes. Okay, you can take a Q-tip and put that into your gas tube where your gas key is here. Well, not gas tube, but where the gas key is. You can put just a little bit of oil on there and just kind of rub that in there and clean it out. I'm not going to do that because mine's clean. And then the whole outside of this is going to get a coat of CLP before we put it back together, okay? The cam, your little cam pin here, you can go ahead and just wipe that off. Get that cleaned up nice. Okay, keep that out of the way. And also your fire retaining pin or your fire pin or your pin, whatever you want to call it. Don't want to lose that guy. Now I need to replace it because you can see it split open really good. And it does make it hard to put back in when we reassemble it. In fact, I will probably end up turning the camera off when I do that part because it takes a few minutes and you have to sit there with like a flashlight on to push the pin across the inside of the bolt carrier group. Go and wipe off your charge handle. You can always put a little dab of oil there if you want to. Okay, mine's good to go. Okay, all right, now what we're going to do is we'll go ahead and transition on over to the upper Actually, no, you know what? Let's just go ahead and put the bolt carrier group back together. All right, we got everything set up for it. Let's do it. So what you want to go ahead and do and take your bolt here. You want to make sure that you've got your extractor. Okay, you got this little rod down here in the bottom. And your extractor right here, you want to make sure that, let's make sure I got this the right way. You are basically set about 2 o'clock, okay, because you want to make sure that it is throwing the shells out this way, okay, this way, all right? So when you reassemble it, you need to be kind of careful there. Actually, no, we want to make sure we're right over here, okay? All right, one sec. Actually, guys, hey guys, my upper receiver is upside down, so I was backwards on that. Make sure the little rod is about the 4 o'clock position and that your extractor arm right here is about the 11 o'clock position. If you reverse it, you're going to do what I did the first time we cleaned it, which basically jams a rifle because it tries to throw the shell this way, and there's no opening there for the shells to come out of. Okay, so, and then what we want to go ahead and do is go ahead and put our cam back in. Okay, this guy right here, just go ahead and put him back in. There we go, and you can actually test it, and if it, whoo, there we go, kind of clowning out there. There we go. You kind of push it, and you can watch it move. Okay, no big deals there. When you put your firing pin in, you're gonna have to have that cam pin turned in a certain direction, otherwise the firing pin's not gonna go completely back in. Go ahead and wipe off the firing pin with just a light coat of oil. Again, you don't need to use a lot of heavy lubricant on it. Go ahead and drop that guy back in there. Okay, we're going to go ahead and turn the cam pin. Oh, just turned it. The firing pin just slid right back in, so you're going to have kind of a nice, kind of a 90-degree angle with the cam pin pointed this way, and you got your bolt in there. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to make sure you got your bolt pulled out. You're going to put that little retaining pin back in this hole, and it's going to go across the inside of the carrier group, and it's going to basically lock itself into this little hole right here. Okay, it seems kind of confusing, but it's really simple. Pin just goes across, and this is the pin that's going to prevent your firing pin from falling out. Okay, so you go ahead and take your little retaining pin right here. Okay, just go ahead and push it in the hole. And then you can have it go sideways, or you can have it go whatever way you want to. Okay, this guy is just generally kind of a little pain in the rear for me when I'm doing this. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera off as I do this, and then we'll continue with this cleaning. Okay, all right, hang tight. Alright guys, what we're going to do now is now if you follow those directions, you should have the bolt carrier assembly put back together with no issues. You should be alright. Go ahead and watch the steps of the video again if you need to. I just kind of wanted to show you the inside of the upper receiver, just in case you've never seen again what these look like. You got your M4 feed ramps going on in there. Kind of light that up for you. I'm kind of using my headlight so you can kind of see that, you know, the machining, the tooling, very high quality. I mean, the inside finish is absolutely perfect. It's awesome. I really do love shooting this rifle. It's very cool. So what we're gonna do now is we're just gonna go ahead and wipe this out with just a patch with some CLP in it. Sometimes I'll take a patch and put it underneath this gas tube right here and shove the patch underneath, make sure it's got some gun oil on it, and then take a punch and just kind of gently push on the patch so that it cleans underneath this gas tube right here. And if you do that, that should make it easier for you to clean that particular part out, especially after you get done firing it. It's going to be filthy inside there. So I'm going to go ahead and just wipe this all out with a patch. So we'll go on with that just in a second. I don't know if this whole headlight thing is going to work, but I wanted to kind of give you an idea of what the internals look like on the upper. Okay, so now in this upper receiver, we've got ourselves a fresh patch with some CLP on it. Just going to go ahead and wipe that out. And again, you can kind of get in there where the feed ramps are, but if you use those special brushes that I showed you in the bore mop, then it really does make it a piece of cake when it comes to cleaning out the front part where your barrel meets the front of the receiver. So again, just give that a little bit of a wipe down. And really not much coming out on this one because of how cleaned it was before we put it back in the safe. But again, it's okay to do this, you know, about once a year if you want to get your guns out, once every 6 months, kind of go through and give them all nice cleaning so that you don't have any kind of buildup. What I like to do is just drop a patch in, okay, and make sure you've got your CLP on there. And go ahead and take your center punch. Don't press too hard. You're not going to scratch anything, but just kind of gently push in there, and you can get the top part of your upper receiver. So it does have some lubricant on it, but it's not too crazy. And then just go ahead and pull your patch out, okay? All right, we're gonna go ahead and move on to the cleaning of the barrel, and we'll just run, we're gonna put some CLP in the barrel. Like I always say, we're gonna let the barrel marinate for a little while. And we'll just go ahead and take the cleaning rod that we have here with the bore brush on the end of it, and we'll go ahead and push that through a couple times and clean out any crud that might be in the barrel. And again, if you just got back from the range, it could take quite a few patches for that to work for you. So we'll run that through a couple times. And again, a one-piece cleaning rod, guys, I can't emphasize enough how much easier this makes it. If you're using those gold ones that came with that little $20 cleaning kit you bought, that's fine, but there's a pretty good chance at some point you're probably going to snap it, and then you're not going to have a rod at all. So just get a one-piece rod. It'll really make things a lot easier for you. So, all right, let's go ahead and move on to that barrel cleaning. Okay, so again, let's go ahead and just put a little bit of CLP down the barrel. And I've changed my little handles here on my cleaning rest that I use, my Sight and Clean rest, so that you got a bit of a downward angle so that everything basically runs out of the barrel. And again, we just kind of push some CLP down there and it'll slowly make its way down there. Might get a little oily inside there, so obviously you want to wipe off any of the excess when you get done. Okay, so that's not so bad. All right, let's go ahead and get the cleaning rod ready to go. We've got the brush on there, the 22 caliber brush. And again, you don't need to force it. It should just go right through. You'll have a nice clean, here we go, bore eventually. So you're going to feel a little bit of resistance, and that's fine. Again, that's why it's nice having the single piece cleaning rod. This is probably going to make a mess here when it comes out of the end, but that's all right. You can, clean out the inside of the bird cage flash hider with a Q-tip if you want to, if you really want to get detailed. Again, I consider myself a bit of a clean freak when it comes to my ARs. Probably more than I think you really need to, but for what I spend on these things and the money you put into it, I want them to be nice and clean, ready to go with no issues. And you can probably go 1,000 rounds before you do any major cleaning if you want to. Okay, just kind of brace the rifle so that it doesn't go anywhere. Okay, you can feel the rod twisting as the rifling inside the barrel twists the brush at the same time, and that's normal. That's okay. You don't have to worry about that. Okay, so we just did 2 little pushes through there, and now what I think we'll do is just go ahead and run a dry patch. So I got a nice pre-cut square patch. These are about 1.5 inches. Sorry guys, I got a whiny kitty down there on the floor. You probably see her walking around. Yes, can I help you? You want to help me up here? I could use some extra paws. Be kind of nice. Okay. I just use a nice, let's see, full-size patch might be a little big. Let's go ahead and trim that down just a little bit. Again, these are about, probably about 1.25 inches by 1.25 inches. Might be a little bit larger than we really need, so. And again, it's okay. You just, you're not going to get the whole thing clean in one shot unless you maybe use a bore snake on it. So we're just going to go ahead and push that. Oh, it's still tight, isn't it? Push that patch through there. Things I should have had done before we started. That's all right. That's all right. Let's go ahead and push now and see if it goes. Yeah, I think we're going to have to do a little more trimming on these patches real quick. And guys, I am going to go ahead and leave any of these little mistakes or boo-boos that I make on camera. Just leave them here and not edit them out, because honestly, these are things you're probably going to work on if you've never cleaned an AR-15 before. So these are, just some issues that you can run into. And again, you need a fairly small patch when you're doing this clean. Well, that's just dinky. Hey, that goes right through. We just need to push through the first time, and I've got some smaller patches that'll do the job. And it's amazing, here I thought I had the barrel all clean from the last outing, and sure enough, we still got a fairly dirty patch that's going to come out at the end. So you might be surprised you can clean it. Part of it is, these oils and these cleaners, they kind of soak in a little bit. And when you run your patches back through it, it's kind of broken up all that crud that was in your barrel before. And so you might be surprised with just what comes out at the end once you start cleaning it. And we're going to run this through a couple times. Honestly, I just leave a little coat of Rem oil on the patch when I get done. I'll run a patch of Rem oil through so that you have a light coat of oil in the barrel. As a bit of a preservative, okay? There we go. And you can check it with your barrel light to make sure that there's no little particles or bits or lint or anything in the barrel before you put it back in the safe or put it wherever you put it. There we go. Okay, still got stuff coming off of it. Wow, that was surprising. Man, I thought I had that sucker all cleaned up before I went out. Okay, I think we'll do just this last patch here. Okay, then we'll go ahead and we'll put the bolt carrier group back in. I think we're going to put the gun back together, and we'll put the bolt carrier group back in with the gun sitting upright the way it's supposed to sit so you can see it. Again, this is kind of part instructional video, part just informative video about the Xena if you don't have a lot of experience with them and you're kind of curious to see what makes them stand out from the rest. Like I said, veteran-owned company, had me sold as soon as I saw them pop up online, and as soon as I heard about them, I think I ended up reading an article about the founder of the company, Jonas Hagos, and his story about how his family came to the U.S. and how he joined the military and what happened to him and just what it took to get him home after he got injured serving. It's kind of a company I really wanted to give my money to. I mean, nothing against, you know, the big boys out there that make AR-15s and stuff. I got nothing against Smith & Wesson or Ruger or FN or anybody for that matter, but it's kind of nice to support the little guy once in a while. Okay, let's go ahead and get this prepped to put the bolt carrier assembly back in, and we'll go from there. Alright, so to reassemble the AR-15, all you have to do is go ahead and put your front pin back in first. You're just going to angle it so that it sits in there, kind of locks into place. Just kind of push the pin until it goes. Kind of push it down up against the lower receiver. Okay, we're good to go there. And we're going to go ahead and just leave that at an angle for right now. Let's go back just a little bit, give you a great view of my kitchen. Alright. And then to put your bolt carrier group and your charging handle back in, it's really a piece of cake. What you can do is, you got a couple ways you can, there's a couple notches here on your charging handle, and you can push it back in here through the top and then push up, and you'll feel it lock into place. And it should stay. Okay, you want to kind of pull it back as far as you can. Right there, there we go. And then you can take your bolt carrier group, and again, that's nice and clean, ready to go. Okay. I can never remember if I need that. I think I need this part out. We're gonna find out when I try to reassemble it. You just kind of slide it back into your receiver. Oops, pull back on your charge handle, and whoop, okay, we got your dust cover that came down. Go ahead and push in. Everything locks back into place, and we're good to go there. Okay, then go ahead and just push it back together. Okay, push your rear assembly pin back into place, and your firearm is basically ready to go. Like I said, there's other things you can do for cleaning. If you wanted to, you can go ahead and use these special bore brushes on it after you take it to the range and clean it. This will clean out the crud from the feed ramp area, and this is the mop to sop it all up when you get done with it. And you can kind of wipe that out with some patches and so on. Okay, you can go ahead and check the firearm for functionality. Okay, you can go and dry fire. One more time. Okay, good to go. And again, that just has a standard trigger, although Civilian Force Arms does sell those with a drop-in trigger from the factory that they will do for you, an aftermarket trigger, which is kind of cool. So if you want to go that route, you can always option it out like that too. Okay, we're going to go ahead and take off this rear iron sight. Let's go ahead and zoom in on that. Oh, and you know what, guys? I think I did that backwards. So what we're going to have to do here is we're going to go ahead and pull the bolt carrier group out one more time, and then we'll take the iron sight off. Alright, so what I did was I opened the rifle back up, no big deal, and go ahead and just pull back on your bolt carrier group so it just kind of pops out a little bit out of place, and then just go ahead and grab your screwdriver. Now again, this is an MFT, I don't know if it's MFT Battle Inc. or MFT, Mission First Tactical. Polymer flip-up rear iron sight, and it's fine, but I do prefer my Magpul stuff, so we're going to go ahead and just loosen the screw on that. And this one's either going to just pop right out or come right off. Okay. Again, just using a standard screwdriver to do this. There might be some more specialized tools that you guys want to use, and you can always go that route too. So, okay, we're going to go ahead and take him off. Let's see what's going on the other side here. Again, like I said, I want to leave all this stuff in here so you can see some of the issues that you might run into yourself when you're doing this work on your guns. Little bug just being kind of a pain, isn't he? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and work on this real quick, guys, and we'll come back and we'll put the Magpul rear iron sight on, and we'll go from there. Okay, so that was kind of a pain to get off, surprisingly. I don't remember it being that tough when I put that on. Anyway, what you want to do is go and take your bolt out of your Magpul MBUS flip-up rear iron sight. Okay, you want to take that out before you do this. You do have to slide it on. Like I said, I went ahead and pulled out the bolt carrier group. It just makes life a lot easier. And I like to push this up just kind of far enough so that it's going to basically leave a little bit of space on the rear. So when you grab for your charging handle, you're not hitting the rear iron sight itself. But I'm also going to make sure that I can see through the Picatinny rail so that I'm able to get the bolt through without any issues. But also at the same time, when you deploy the rear sight, you want to make sure that you're not hitting. Now I believe this is a lower 1/3 co-witness with the StrikeFire 2, if I'm not mistaken. But when you put that in there, you want to make sure you can clear this. You have enough room so that, say that's up and you needed to use that, you'd be able to use it with no issues. Now granted, I need to bolt that on real quick, but don't put it so far up that it's going to hit the back of the sight. Okay, we just leave just enough room so that you can operate both your lens caps with no issues, and you should be good to go. So we're going to go ahead and put that bolt on real quick. Get that nice and tight in there, and we should be all set. Again, I've always been really happy with all things Magpul. I've never had any problems with their stuff before. And it generally works really well. Let's see, is that going to get through? Yep, we're through. They do put a little bit of Loctite on this screw. Again, you don't want to over tighten it. You don't need to. You can make some adjustments at the range as you're shooting it. Obviously, you want to check your screwdrivers and such, and check your screws and make sure that everything's good to go. Yeah, it's about as tight as I think you need to take it. It needs to be zeroed in at the range anyway, so go ahead and check it for functionality. Okay, good to go. Make sure that this doesn't move, that the side doesn't move at all. Okay. What we'll do is we'll go ahead and put the bolt carrier group back in. So let's move on to that step here. Back up a little bit. Okay, again, very simple. Just go ahead and push your pin out. The gun, then naturally the weight of it's going to pull itself forward. Go ahead and take your charge handle, which I'm going to give a little coat of oil there. Didn't really do that so well the time before, so okay. And then make sure you got your bolt carrier group ready to go. Okay, just go ahead and push that handle in again. Like I said, it's going to lock into place and it should not fall out. You kind of leave it hanging out as far as you can. Okay, then just go ahead and take your bolt carrier group and just drop that in. And it all kind of pushes itself together. Okay, you can feel that if you push on the bottom and that charging handle is being pulled forward, you're good there. Okay, push it in so it locks. Just because I'm a little OCD, get rid of those fingerprints there. And again, your forward assist, if you happen to have one of these, there isn't much you really have to do with this. You just want to make sure you do wipe out kind of around that area when you take your bolt carrier group out. Go ahead and push your hammer back down. Reassemble. Check for functionality. Okay, dry fire. And you are pretty much in business. So that's it. That is more or less the rough, untrained, unprofessional version of an AR-15 field strip and cleaning. Again, there's a lot of videos that show you how to do it. If you're a regular on my channel, maybe you learned something new, or maybe you already knew what to do. Any suggestions you guys want to make for the cleaning of this firearm, just go ahead and put it in the comment section down below. That'd be cool. Tell me what you think. If you have any experiences with Civilian Force Arms rifles, it's always good to let me know too. This one's going to go back down to the gun vault, so yeah, I'll probably take it out. I'll probably take it out this week. I want to get the rear iron sight sighted in for it. It'll be interesting to see if it has any kind of a zero, because I did have it on the Bear Creek Arsenal AR before, and it was zeroed in, and it was shooting tacks. So, and then we'll get the StrikeFire 2 out. We'll put a few rounds through that and make sure that that's working well. Always make sure you keep a couple spare batteries around for that too. You might have to order them online if you can't buy them locally. I've had this one for 2 years now and haven't had any problems. Haven't even burned through the first battery yet. So there you have it, guys. All right, let me grab a little sip of coffee here. So rewarding when you get done. Anyway, I want to thank you for watching the channel. We'll get this gun out this week and do a little accuracy testing with it. It's ready to go to the range now. We'll see if Stan has any goodies for us on Monday when I take back that SIG. Speaking of which, I got to clean that yet tonight too, but I won't do a video on it because I've already done it once. So we'll get that cleaned up and get that taken back to him. Otherwise, Civilian Force Arms, Xena, Gen 1, any Gen for that matter. Think about picking one up. They're fantastic rifles, great company. They do make some really cool models in different calibers and different configurations, everything from your pistol style all the way up to your long range shooters, 300 blackout, 5.56, and I think they offer a few other calibers. They also make an AK, and they have a 45 1911 style pistol that you can get to. So they really expanded their offerings since they first got started just a couple years ago. Great company. Like I said, Jonas autographed my stock for me, and I had to take it off and put that in the safe because as soon as I hit it with a little gun oil, it started to take the ink off, and I was like, oh no, I don't want to lose that autograph. So I ended up buying another MFT Battling stock, which is cool. Very cool rear stocks. They're really nice too, and there's videos on that you can check out. But guys, please like or subscribe. Check me out over on Twitter and Instagram, and I'm also over on gunchannels.com with the Ordinary Average Guy Gun channel. You can watch all my videos over there too. And as always, guys, I want you to have fun. I want you to be safe. Obviously, enjoy your Second Amendment rights. Go out shooting. Take somebody shooting out with you. And we'll go from there, guys. All right, so thanks for watching. Have fun. Be safe. And as always, we will talk to you soon. Goodbye.